You're listening to the Fed and Fearless podcast. On today's episode, I'm chatting with Kaci Ackerman about how to use project management software for a more successful online business. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Laura Schoenfeld, a registered dietitian, nutrition business coach, and online entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in online business. And I'm here to show you everything I've learned about creating a life and a business that nourishes you. On this podcast, we'll talk about the lifestyle habits, practical strategies, mindset shifts, and leaps of faith required to build a healthy body, a powerful mind, a strong spirit, and a successful business. Hey there, welcome back to the Fed and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Laura Schoenfeld, and we have a jam-packed episode for you today, so I'm just going to jump straight into the introduction. My guest today is Kaci Ackerman. Kaci is a ClickUp expert that is here to talk to you about how to use project management software so you can run your business successfully. Kaci went from a dental office manager to being furloughed due to COVID to running a six-figure online business in less than 2 years. Kaci is a certified business manager and ClickUp expert and has helped over 500 business owners streamline their business with ClickUp. She saves CEOs 10 hours a week and increases their profit by 25% with a robust and automated ClickUp system. Some fun facts about Kaci is that she's the queen of typos and truth bombs, a lover of stouts and porters, myself as well, Kaci, a Netflix binger, sports fan, bike rider, and Friends obsessed. So we have a really great conversation for you about why you need a project management tool or software, how to decide which tool you're going to use, and different ways that you can use these tools in your business, whether you're a solopreneur or you have a team or somewhere in between. So I know this is going to be super valuable for you if you run a business, and hopefully a lot of you are thinking about how to make your business run more successfully and more efficiently. And so this is what our conversation is going to help you accomplish today. So I'm super excited to have Kaci with us. And without further ado, here is Kaci Ackerman. All right, everyone. Well, I am so excited to have with us on the show today, Kaci Ackerman. Welcome to the Fed and Fearless podcast, Kaci.
Hey, how's it going? I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. And we're going to be talking about something that I think if you had asked me 10 years ago if I was interested in this topic, I would have been like, not really. But now that I've been in business for over 8 years and I have multiple team members that I'm coordinating with, I think this conversation is not only of more interest, but also a lot more essential for the results we've been able to have in our business. So my hope is that our conversation can be beneficial for all types of entrepreneurs, but I know that a lot of my listeners are more on the solopreneur end of the spectrum, so we'll kind of err on that side for the conversation today.
Yeah, of course.
So just so our audience can get to know you better, how did you become a ClickUp systems expert?
Yeah, so I was a office manager for about, I think, 7 or 8 years. And COVID, of course, started this journey for me. Long story short, we had to close our office and I didn't like that. I didn't like the that somebody else controlled so much of my stability. So I quickly jumped into the solopreneur type thing and I started as a VA. And I quickly figured out that obviously I wanted to be in this more high level customized type area. I really thrive in building people's systems and building people's ClickUp and, all those fun things that like feeds my soul. And so I quickly moved into that in 2020 and I've been doing it ever since. And I actually just looked at this morning. I've helped almost 1,000 business owners with ClickUp. So that's exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's been in just 2 years.
Yeah. I looked at, I think like 903 or something. So I'm almost there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And was ClickUp something you were already using in the job that you were doing? Or was this like just complete fresh new thing for you to learn how to do?
So the whole thing, the whole experience was brand new, like VAing all together, like this whole online world. My cousin actually started her own business and left her teaching job, and I thought it was a scam. I was like, there's no way that this is real. And when all that happened, I called her and she's like, no, it's real. And so I have always had this very type A, organized type personality. Back in high school, I always envisioned myself like working at a desk and like admin and stuff. And so, obviously that's progressed, but I'm still in that role that really serves me well. And like I would say probably almost every business owner, I started with Trello and I progressed very quickly into ClickUp. Once I found ClickUp, it kind of just everything clicked from there. But I definitely like quickly outgrew Trello. And I knew that I needed something bigger and more robust.
Mm-hmm. Was this for the particular person you were VAing for that you were setting this stuff up, or was this like a side job that you were learning
This
outside of
was
the VA
just,
work?
yeah, this was just me like trying to organize my business myself. And that's how I kind of found ClickUp. And I am a certified OBM. So going through the certification process, I learned a lot. And that's kind of where I even more further like, oh, I really want to dive into project management and systems for people because it's so important to have these systems in place for your business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't even tell you how important they are. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you being in business for 8 years now, you now understand like really the importance. And also you actually enjoy knowing about them because you're like, oh, wait, that can save me from having to do all these steps. I want that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I will say, at this stage of my business, we've kind of gotten into a place where my integrator is doing the vast majority of this stuff. And it's not because I can't or that I wouldn't be able to figure it out. It's more about the division of labor as far as if people are familiar with the book Rocket Fuel or Traction. It's just the same guy, same author, just different ways of writing about it. Basically, me as the CEO, if I was in that world in my business excessively, it would actually be pulling me away from more of the visionary creation, that kind of stuff. However, getting to that stage in your business is usually not like, the first 6 figures of your business, right? Or even maybe the first like 200K in your business. You don't have to have this whole like visionary integrator set up to be very successful. So I feel like these project management tools, they can be used at different levels in different ways. And ultimately, I feel like the CEO of the business still has to know at least how to use them, even if they're not the ones setting stuff up or, being the ones that are creating all the automations. Like if you don't know what's going on at all and you just like hope that somebody else is going to run it for you, I feel like that's maybe not the best idea. I really like people to have that understanding. And also if they're hiring to, be able to outsource without it just being this like, I literally don't understand what's going on here. So
Yeah.
is that your, I could be totally wrong. You could be like, actually, I teach people to not get involved at all. And that just like total done for you. So I don't know what your perspective is on that.
Yeah, so I agree with you. No, you definitely still need to know like what it is, what's in there, how to use it. And also it helps you kind of audit things too. So, one thing that we use, ClickUp has this feature called dashboards, and we have this area where you can kind of see like the workload based off of your team members, and you can see it off of percent. And so you can really see like you as the CEO, how much of the tasks you're doing and realize like, oh, wait, I'm still like a lot inside my business. I need to change that. So you can really start to audit what you're doing. And even if you're not using ClickUp, you can still do that because you can, look at Trello or Asana or Monday and look at what's assigned to you versus assigned to your team. And you can really start to like hone in on those areas where you can actually offload things off of your plate. And I totally 100% agree with you about the fact that technically you could do it. Like you right now as a CEO could do those things, but is that going to serve your business? Is that going to serve your life that you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
live? Is that going to serve your team's life? Because if you are so like inside your business all the time, then you may see your business financially kind of suffer because you're not out there doing the marketing or doing the connections with people or doing the podcast, because you're exhausted from doing all of these busy tasks. When in
Mhm.
reality, you could have a project management tool set up where those are set up for your team. They know exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it, how they need to do it. And you can focus on revenue generating tasks or, focusing on the vision of your business, serving the clients that you want to serve, serving your audience, because that's what's going to, grow your business and show up as the leader and authority that you want to be. You making sure that something is assigned to somebody is not going to make a six-figure decision.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because and we'll talk about different tool options here, but in my team, we were using Asana until basically June-ish, July is when I think we officially made this the like financial, like we're not paying for this tool anymore. We're paying for this tool now. And that was over my maternity leave that I was just on. Literally my integrator, one of the projects I gave her when I was not working for like 10 weeks was, hey, I want you to take everything we have built in Asana and either switch it over to Monday because we're using Monday now, or create new systems in Monday. And I want to like basically come back from this maternity leave with our business running on Monday. And it was amazing because she literally did it. And I came back, and it's not that, again, it's not that I don't understand how to use Monday. I do understand, like, if I want to go in there and create something, I can. But we're really doing everything we can to keep me out of it and to keep me like not like messing around and creating automations and that kind of thing. So I think if anyone listening has a business where they do have team members, that's something where making sure, like, yeah, knowing how to use it is important, but not being the one that's setting up all the intricate systems and details. And because that, like you said, that takes time. And if it's taking you away from the sales part of your business and getting out there and, promoting the business and talking with potential customers, that kind of thing, then I think it can really bog you down as opposed to helping save time and actually allow for more revenue potential.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our clients, or listeners, I should say, and clients, but a lot of our listeners are the more of the solopreneur type person. For somebody who is really just running their business on their own, they don't have a team, because we can talk about team stuff, but I want to start with that idea of like, okay, it's just you, right? And a lot of business owners start with just themselves and they don't have anyone else that they need to communicate with. What would be the benefit of someone in that type of business using some kind of project management software like you mentioned, Trello, Asana, ClickUp, Monday? There's a lot of options. There's probably other ones we're not mentioning. But why should somebody who doesn't have a team think about getting this stuff set up in their business?
Yeah. So at some point, you are going to have to hire somebody to help you. It's just that's going to happen. So that's the first thing, is really getting set up for your future. And one of my favorite things to always say to people is build systems for where you want to be, not for where you are right now. Because where you're at right now, sure, you can do all this stuff manually. But what happens when you have 5 clients and you have, 5 leads in your email box and you have content that needs to be made, and like all of a sudden your business is just booming? Because I swear it literally happens overnight. Like all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, what just happened? But if you don't take the time to set those things up, you're going to just go into a severe burnout. And that's the last thing that you want to do. And I would assume you created a business for the time freedom and the financial freedom in your life to not have to, sit at your desk 24/7. And a lot of people that I talk to, oftentimes they actually end up working more than they did from their corporate job in their business, because now they're doing all the pieces. They're not, just focused on one area of someone else's business. And while that probably does happen, or it needs to happen in the beginning, it doesn't need to be the normal thing. And that's where systems come in to kind of alleviate that. And another piece of this is a lot of people are pen and paper. And the advice I have around that is, even if you're a pen and paper person, still do that, but then turn around and put it directly into your project management tool and set a due date and assign it to yourself. Because your sticky notes and your notebooks, unfortunately, they can't remind you. They don't have a little notification bell. They don't have a little red dot showing that it's overdue. They don't have anything. And, oftentimes in that notebook, once you flip the page, it's gone, it's forgotten. And if it's a client related thing, next thing you know, 2 weeks later, your client is like, hey, did you ever finish, X, Y, and Z? And you're just like, oh my gosh, I totally spaced on that.
Mhm.
So regardless of if you're by yourself or if you're getting ready to hire, or especially if you have a team, systems and project management tools are needed no matter where you're at. And really think about like where you want to be in your business and ask yourself if what you're doing right now is sustainable for the revenue that you want to hit or the amount of clients that you want to hit, or if you want to build an agency. Like if you're doing everything manually, how are you going to build an agency? So there's a lot of different factors that go into why you should have systems, and all of them I
Mhm.
feel like are very important.
Yeah. And I feel like with the pen and paper thing, that, like you said, that can work if you're the only person in your business. But as soon as there is even one additional person that's supporting you in any way, shape, or form, it's like now they can't see your notebook, right?
Mhm.
So it's like
Yeah.
you're going to have some way to communicate tasks and deadlines and stuff with that person. And I totally agree that building your business for the business you want to have versus just building it based on your current state is what allows you to grow. And I've had clients before that I've worked with that, you know, with the project, like the project management system is one part of the business, but then there's the, even just managing clients, because we work with health and nutrition professionals, and a lot of them do like one-on-one coaching and consulting type of work, and even using a tool to organize their clients, like their one-on-one client information and calendar and all of that. It shocks me how many times people are not using those tools. Like we teach a software called Practice Better for the client management side of things, and I can't even tell you how many people are using like Google Calendar and like emailing back and forth about scheduling and rescheduling and like, you know, just all the, Google Docs and that kind of stuff, trying to share documents. And I
Mhm.
used to do it before these tools existed, because, being in the business for almost, it'll be 9 years in February, I think. Some of these tools didn't even exist. So I was literally like sending PDFs via email to my clients with their notes or their supplement recommendations and that kind of thing. And now that these tools are so robust, it's like the amount of time even a solopreneur can save by organizing using these either client or business management tools, or both, because I kind of feel like you need both. It's just, I just don't understand why people would be avoiding it, because usually the people I work with want to make money without working
Mhm.
40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And I feel like that's one of the key ways to actually cut down on how much time you're spending is using one of these tools that has automations and organization and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting. So I think one of the things that happens with ClickUp specifically, I don't know about other project management tools, but literally it's so robust and there's so many features that people will create an account and then they immediately close the screen because it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't figure out how to do this. And they get in their head of the mentality of it's faster if I just write it on a piece of paper and do it later rather than learning the system. But you need to retrain your mindset. You need to focus on the fact of if I take the time to learn a new project management tool, again, doesn't have to be ClickUp, it just needs to be whatever one, suits you. It will in return give you probably 2 to 3 times of your time back. So, with ClickUp, I could say I confidently say that I save anywhere from 10 to 15 hours in my week, every single week, because of how we have it set up. And I would assume that your team using Monday is the same. Like you guys are saving time, and also your team is now more productive in less time. So now it's making it where you guys can get things done quicker, more efficiently. You guys aren't missing deadlines or due dates. Your clients are happy. There's so much that goes into it. And the idea around, like, oh, I'll just manually send this email and see if they want to reschedule. how many times are you doing that? And how many times are you moving an appointment on Google Calendar when in reality you could say, here's my rescheduling link? And that's not
Mhm.
something a project management tool can do. I'm just saying, like, talking just about that, like there, and I do also agree with you. You need a CRM, the client relationship management, and you need a project management tool. Those are totally two different things. They do completely different things, and they serve you in totally different ways. Um, but it's so, so important to set these things up. And if you think about it, you have automation set in your life. So like a lot of people have automations for maybe like automatic payments. So I don't think I pay any of our bills because they automatically just come out of our account when they're due. That is a
Mhm.
system that I have set up to save me time. So I don't have to sit down on a Friday once a month and pay all these bills. It's the same idea
Mhm.
in your business. And I can guarantee you learned how to figure that out. So you can definitely learn how to figure out to put stuff into ClickUp or Monday or whatever and assign yourself things and, make things easier for yourself. So it's everywhere though in your life. A system is everywhere. It's not just in your business. And um we've had to learn systems, just in general. And this is no different from that. And
Yeah.
it's just the reward is tenfold. And I think a lot of people, obviously the first thing that you have to do when you're in your business is get clients. That's your
Mhm.
number one goal. Your number one goal is making money, obviously serving your family, being able to, if you're still at a corporate or 9 to 5, being able to leave. I get that. It's really, really important. But systems are equally important. And I think people forget that because all they need to do is make money. That's all. That's like their number one thing, so they don't think about
Mhm.
the fact of like, okay, well, what happens when you're making like 3 times the money that you're making now? How are you going to support that?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and then also, as you were saying with the business growing, you start to have a lot of balls getting dropped, and then people aren't having the best experience as your clients, even in the
Yeah.
health space. Like, this is something that I think people tend to underestimate the power of using a tool like this to manage what you're working on with your clients. Because if you're a nutritionist or somebody who does some kind of plan for your clients, right? Maybe it's a workout plan, maybe it's a supplement plan. Something that used to happen to me all the time before I was using any of these project management tools is I would work with particular clients and forget to do their notes or forget to write their supplement plan. And luckily, all my clients, well, at least I think so, were very like generous and were like, "Hey, did you ever send that plan?" I was like, "No, I got it right here. I got it for you." Right? I'd go like whip it up really fast because I forgot to write it. And so I do think that obviously the goal is to get busy enough that you would start to possibly drop the ball if you didn't have some way to organize the work that you're doing. And so I totally agree that getting it set up now before things get so hectic and then you really feel like you don't have time to do it is it's really taking your business more seriously and believing that, hey, this is going to grow, this is going to get bigger, and I don't want to be having to put the brakes on down the road because I literally can't handle more clients in the way that my business is structured now. So I agree with you, both the project management and the client management softwares. Um, I feel like getting those set up from the get-go are really important, and for people to not be like, I'll just do it once I'm like making more money kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I'd be curious because we use a lot of different types of project strategies and boards and stuff. Like our Monday system is rather complex compared to what I think the average solopreneur would need. What would be some of the more common um, either automations or boards or however it's set up in ClickUp? Because I'm mildly familiar with ClickUp, and I'm imagining it's not totally different than Monday. But what would be some of the things that somebody might use a software like ClickUp for to organize their business?
Yeah. So um I definitely think that when you're a solopreneur or you're just starting out, something like Trello or Asana would suit you very well because they're very simplistic. They basically get the job done, right? The difference though is you will outgrow them. And so I still recommend even solopreneurs to start with ClickUp. or Monday, a more robust one, because you can grow with that system rather than having to move your entire system. So like you mentioned, like you guys moved your entire system where, yeah, you can do that, but it like, you don't want to, I guess. I'm sure it was a big project, especially on your team, which is fine. But it proves my point that you guys outgrew those systems and you guys had to find something that would better suited you. And so I like always still just recommend ClickUp, even starting out. And some of the automations that I love are, this is having probably like a VA on your team, I would say. But like, when a status changes, it will automatically change the assignee and possibly like move the due date for you if you want to give your VA like a few extra days based off of what you've completed as part of this task when you're doing projects. I love doing that. ClickUp also has capabilities of actually sending emails out. And I love this. And you could even do this as a solopreneur, especially with your client side of things. You could have like, if a task pops up, you could change a custom field on it and it will automatically shoot off an email to whatever email you've chosen for it to send out. I really like that idea. One person that I recently worked with as a podcast manager, and we set her stuff up where they get reminders of like, hey, you need to give me your podcast stuff. They get also like your podcast is scheduled, all of these different things, and it's all automated. So she does not have to go in and, go and open her Gmail, open the email and like send it out and then attach all this stuff. ClickUp can actually do all of it for you, which is really cool. I have actually a pretty small team. I only have 2 people on my team. And then I hired an ads agency, so that's separate. But my actual internal team is only 2 people. And the amount of stuff that we can get done, because ClickUp has done so much for us, has allowed me to keep my team actually pretty small, which is really cool. Because I'm able to, I don't know, I just like it. I kind of like a smaller team, but,
well, I mean, it saves you money, right? I mean, if you don't need to hire additional people and not that we want to like be cheap or something, but the fact is like every extra person you hire, that's more money coming out of the business to pay their salary. So if you can get it done with a software, it's like, why wouldn't you do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you're mentioning the amount of time that it's saving your team, because I'm just thinking through the different types of boards that we use in Monday. And one of the ones we set up recently could work for either a solopreneur or if you have a team member. So I know a lot of my clients have considered or have hired somebody to help with their social media. And we actually set something up where we have a form that anyone on the team could fill out. Usually it's me, but I also my social media person uses it too. And we literally have all of these different things to fill in that are content ideas. So what I'll do, and half the time this is like when I'm nursing my baby and I'm like just trying to like, get some productivity done at the same time. I'll go into Instagram and look at what's trending for audio for Reels. And then I'll take the link of that trending audio and put it in this form. And then I'll put some like details like, what's the general gist of the audio? What's my idea for the content? If there's a particular offer that I want to drive people towards, like anything that's related to the idea that came from that Instagram audio. And when I submit it, it gets added to this board that we have that's just content ideas. And then what we do right now we're doing it like every 3 to 4 weeks is we'll literally record like, I think last time we did like 20 something reels in maybe 2 hours. And then we have this section where you can actually save the video in that form. So now we have this like list of all the recorded reels and what the idea is for the content and like what call to action we want and everything. So either myself or my social media person can then go into that board in Monday and just grab an already recorded reel that you just need some of the like text and stuff to finish it, and then create a caption for it. Like there's a section where we could write the caption ahead of time. And create the content. And the reason why I mention this is because even if I had 0 team members, this would be a really helpful system for coming up with content ideas that then I can make really easy to execute. Because I feel like something like creating Instagram Reels, at least for me, I kind of like to batch record stuff because first of all, I want to like have makeup on and like not look like a total slob. And I don't always, get dressed every day. So if I can like, get dressed and maybe I have a couple of outfit changes so it doesn't look like I just did all of the reels on the same day, although I honestly don't even care anymore. And I can go through later and like just grab it and post it, and it makes posting consistently so much easier. That's a system that we came up with, just invented it basically. I'm sure other people do stuff like that, but we created it so that now we can get content made faster and easier. So it reduces the barrier of entry for us to be putting out more content than maybe if we were like not using a system like that. So I mentioned that because, we're talking about saving time with team members and making it easier to communicate with team. And yes, most of what we do on Monday for our team is related to team management and communication. But I'm even thinking about like, there's a lot of boards we use that even if it was just me would still make my life easier and make it easier for me to do those activities that help get me in front of my audience on a more consistent basis.
Yeah. And, talking about that, so I have a couple other pieces, even as a solopreneur. So one of them would be just like setting up your recurring tasks and actually set them to recur. So like every Monday you do this set of tasks, every Tuesday you do this, when, so on and so forth, or every week you do this, or every month you do this. That alone is going to save like so much of your brain power for you to focus on other things. And, the other thing too that is really helpful. So we have a similar process actually in ClickUp for our content. And one thing that we added to it is we're able to repurpose our content directly from ClickUp. And how we have it set up is we type in an idea and it creates a task for us. It pulls the original content idea for us so we can see it, because sometimes you have that idea and then you're like, why did I think of that? So it pulls in the original stuff so you can review it. But now we're not having to think of new content ideas 24/7. And I actually like create all of my content off of my old content. Like I don't actually come up with new ideas anymore because I don't think I could anymore. But but that's also a process for even a solopreneur. It saves you so much time in having to use your brain power to think about things. And we already have so much on our plates in our personal life and in our business that we don't need to remember to have to send that email, or we don't have to remember to make sure this was posted or whatever. Like allow your project management tool to be the holder of those thoughts and allow it to like remember things for you rather than you having to like look at the sticky note or look at the notebook or, flip back and see like, oh yeah, that's the task I was going to do. Like that alone is going to save you an entire 8 hours. Like just right there.
Well, then I think about, in the nutrition and health space and speaking to potential clients and doing discovery calls and that kind of thing. I think one of the things that people tend to miss out on is the follow-up. And even if you're using a client management software to book the initial appointments, which is something that we teach our clients to do, is having like a system set up to actually get discovery calls booked automatically and not having to like do all that email back and forth. But after you've done the discovery call with somebody, then what, right? Because not everybody's going to sign up right away. And I like to have a system for organizing, like, who did I talk to? Were they a good fit for the program? Did they sign up? Like all of that. And then that way, if somebody was a good fit, but maybe you didn't hear back from them, you can set a reminder to check in with them after a certain period of time. So, because people get busy. And I think sometimes the assumption is, oh, well, if they really want to work with me, they'll get back to me. But the fact is, like, sometimes people just forget and they get distracted. And so being able to follow up with potential clients in a organized way. And if somebody is not, like ghosting you, whatever, you just say like not a fit or like didn't respond or something. You can change the status. But I think trying to remember when did we talk and who did I talk to and what was like, did I have notes about, like, did I want to work with them? All of that stuff can be put into a board like this. So that way you're not missing potential sales opportunities because of a lack of follow-up. So I feel like there's certain types of really very basic systems that can be set up in these tools that somebody who's even just new to business, like there's going to be client management, right? Like anything that is involved with serving your clients, there's going to be the whole sales process. So anything involved with like leads and conversations that you're having with potential clients. And then there's going to be your content marketing strategy and coming up with content ideas and then actually posting content ideas. And like Kaci was saying, being able to go back and look at what you created, maybe it was 2 months ago, and maybe repost it or tweak it and like basically use the same content, right? Because we don't want to be reinventing the wheel. So I feel like, if you're one of my clients, we teach the attract, convert, serve framework. And basically I think each of those, like in the attraction phase, in the converting or sales phase, and then in the service or, fulfillment phase, all of that can have systems built in that make your life easier, even if you don't have a team member, and just help you grow your business in a more organized way so that you're not dropping the ball, clients are happy, you're delivering the services that you promised, and you're making it easier for you to get yourself in front of potential new clients.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing about the follow-up stuff. I don't remember who I was talking to, but it is pretty well known that most clients need like 5 to 8 follow-ups before they say yes. So if you think that someone is just ghosting you or not going to work with you, it may not be true.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you get a vibe for that, right? Yeah. You can get a vibe for it on the call if they're like being all weird and stuff. But if somebody's like really interested, but then you don't hear from them, I think it's like, you kind of have to get over your pride a little bit and just be like, I'm just going to reach out and we'll see what happens. If they hate me, they'll block me or whatever. But, it's funny. We were looking at doing like a little bit of a launch debrief on a launch we just completed. And I was kind of laughing to myself a little bit because a bunch of the people that joined our most recent program have gone through like 3 different promotions, or they've been on our list for like 3 years or something. And I just feel like that goes to show you that consistency and that like being in front of them multiple times, and it could be over the course of years. I know people hate to think about that, but it's like some of the stuff is really a long game here. Being able to be consistently getting in front of people is really important. And it's hard to do that if you're just like scrambling, trying to like keep everything together with duct tape basically. And you're so disorganized that you're not creating content. You're not, maximizing the amount of time that you have, especially if you have other responsibilities like a family or another job that you're doing, that kind of thing. So I feel like, as you were saying before, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming when you get into these systems and you're just like, I don't know where I'm supposed to start. But it's worth learning so that you can save time and you can spend that time on the things that are really going to grow your business and not just the things that have to function so that your business can work.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And again, it's just, figuring out where you want your business to go and then building systems that are going to support that. Not, thinking like, oh, I don't need new systems right now because I just have this one client and we just do these small things. Well, I would assume you probably want more than one client.
Yeah. Hopefully.
If that's your game, then, perfect. That's your little side hustle. But if you want to, start treating yourself as a CEO and your business as a business and not a side hustle, these systems are going to be a priority, or should be, I should say.
Mm-hmm. So I would love to talk about deciding on software because we've mentioned a few different tools here. And I was saying, I think this was before we hit record, that I was saying to you about how I started on Trello. And I don't even know if like ClickUp even existed when I started my business. I'm not 100% sure how long it's been around.
No.
And I don't know about Monday either because, I was just doing all this stuff on my own, pretty much solopreneur, maybe a little bit of help from like a content person. But we use Trello more as like, basically like sticky note style boards where it's like you just have the little
The
I
cards.
forget what the cards, yeah, is that
Yeah.
what they're called?
Yeah.
But that worked for me in that phase of my business. Eventually Trello felt a little underpowered, and I know that they've changed their software since we switched, but I don't know if it's ever been as robust as these other systems are. But we switched over to Asana, and part of the reason for that was because I had that freak out moment when I tried to get into ClickUp on myself and was like, oh, this is like really complicated. So Asana just felt a little bit more like Trello on steroids. So I was like, all right, let's go to Asana. And then, as I mentioned earlier, while I was on maternity leave, I assigned the shift from Asana to Monday to my integrator, and she's like a whiz at this kind of stuff. So it worked out great, and she set the whole thing up, and I was like, you do whatever you want. I don't need to see it. Like, just create it kind of thing. So that was my evolution in our business, to go from Trello to Asana to Monday. And I know that you were saying like having to make that many changes is kind of a pain in the butt. It totally was. I would have saved us a lot of time and energy if we hadn't had to create it all from scratch. Although I will say, the silver lining there is it's kind of like when you move houses, like moving from one house to another is a ton of work, but it's like one of the best ways to organize your house and like make sure the things are in the right spot, right? Yeah. Yeah. So there was some systems cleansing that happened when we went from Asana to Monday, where my integrator was like, do we need this? Do we not need this? Let's set this up in a more effective way. So, not all problematic, but I think if somebody is wanting to decide, okay, like what system should I use, or what should I be looking for? What kind of factors would you think somebody should be considering when they're choosing the kind of system that they want? Because I think sometimes people are just like, well, I'm just going to go with the cheaper one. And they don't realize that like maybe that's not actually what you need. And it might cost you more in time and lost revenue because you're not paying for the more robust system. So what might be some decision-making factors that somebody should take into consideration?
Yeah, I still think it goes back into deciding what you want for your business and like the vision of your business and what is going to support that. So if you are, wanting to stay a solopreneur and not hire people, and that's not really what you're interested in, I could see Trello and Asana working just fine. Or maybe like one, like a VA, and that's it. But if you have, this vision for your business to grow in multiple different ways with, multiple offers, multiple clients, maybe like a digital side of your business, or if you're wanting to have an agency, or if you're wanting honestly more than 2 team members, I think that's where you need to start considering a more powerful project management tool, which would be either ClickUp or Monday. I think both of them are pretty comparable. And really what's important is finding the one that you actually are going to use. So there's a lot of like, you should do this, you should do that. The one thing I say that you should do is have systems. How you do them is up to you, and how, like, what tool you want to use is up to you. And a lot of people think that like, Dubsado or ClickUp or Monday or Zapier or whatever is like the system. It's not the system. It's the tool that makes your system work. And so understanding what systems you're going to have in your business and what you want, and like really, outlining that, and then figuring out what tool is going to fit that, is where you need to kind of spend your energy. And I obviously will forever mention ClickUp or recommend ClickUp because I love it, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's not, everyone does not love it the way that I do. And that is 100% okay. What's important is you finding something that you love, that clicks for you, that you're going to use every single day, that you want to grow with. That's what's important, because, I could tell you to use ClickUp all day, but if it doesn't jive with you, you're going to go back to doing everything manually. You're going to go back to those notebooks or sticky notes or sending out the emails manually, or not having reminders set up. And, your business is going to suffer from that, but you are also going to suffer from that. You're going to start sacrificing time with your family. You're going to start sacrificing, maybe like your hobbies or your health, because you're just focused in your business of trying to get all the things done all the time. So just think about like where you want your business to go and kind of figure out what can support that and what actually makes sense for your brain. I think is important,
Mhm.
over like, oh, well, Casey says I should use this, so I should do it, even though I don't like it. Or Laura says I should do this, even though I don't
Mhm.
So figuring out and maybe testing them out, they all have free options. ClickUp has a free forever plan. I believe Monday you can use for free. I know you can use Asana. So there are free options. And I think maybe if you played with them, gave yourself like a week trial on each of them and then decide which one like really felt good to you. I will say though, with anyone that you pick, you need a paid plan. I wholeheartedly believe in that because the paid plan is where you start to see your efforts come even tenfold of the automations and how the systems unfold and how you can actually streamline and optimize your systems even further that you didn't know you could do. That's where things kind of like almost take it up a notch. You're like, okay, I have this system and now I'm going to like up level this system even more, with,
Mhm.
and the paid plans, I feel like for probably all of the project management tools start to offer that kind of stuff. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, sorry for this really long winded answer.
Well, and I feel like something that people tend to forget also is they're probably already using a lot of tools in their business. I mean, if you're running an online business, there's tools that you're using. It has to be the case. Otherwise, you don't have an online business. And I think sometimes people they try to use all of the free tools and kind of like duct tape them all together like I was saying
Yeah.
before, and because I've actually heard of coaches teaching this before. They're like, don't waste your money on something like again, we teach Practice Better, or we recommend it as a client management tool. They're like, you don't need that. All you need is iCal and your Google Drive and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, technically yes, you can have this like duct taped free tool system put together, but the question is, how much time are you wasting trying to manage all of that and trying to
Mhm.
remember things, and like how are you limiting your business's growth potential by having this like completely disjointed system versus
Yeah.
like that was one of the things that I liked about Monday was that we got rid of a lot of the other tools that we were using, like Google Forms, for example. And there's nothing against Google Forms. Like we used them for a long time, but we were able to stop using that because Monday, and I'm sure ClickUp is the same way, Monday has a form tool that then can save the information and even like run an automation with it or, assign people, that kind of thing. And it just was easier than having to be like, oh, where is that form? And we have to go find it in Google Drive, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I feel like for me, a lot of times looking at the free tools that I'm already using and asking myself, is there a tool that kind of provides all of this in a condensed single location so that I'm not like chasing things around or trying to find stuff. And that in and of itself saves a lot of time too. Like I
Yeah.
know Monday also, and I'm only using Monday as an example because we're using it, so I'm very familiar with the stuff that's available. But Monday also has like documents, and now a lot of our documents, rather than putting them into Google Drive, we're using Monday for documents and organizing it within boards and that kind of thing. So I do think looking at the tools you are already using can be a way to inspire the system you end up or the software you end up choosing because of what features they have and what stuff it can replace, so that you're not like, again, looking at 15
Piecemealing it
different
all
tools
together.
to find like, where was this? And,
Yeah.
trying to make sure that everything's organized.
Yeah, the same. Yes, and ClickUp does have forms and docs and all that stuff. And I have also completely like replaced Google Suite basically outside of my email. And it's a lifesaver because every single time, I don't know about you, but every single time I open up Google Drive, I'm immediately distracted because I don't know where anything is, even though it's organized. We have our folders. I don't use it very often anymore, but even though it's organized, it still just does not flow very well. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
click a lot of things to get where you need to go. And every single
Mm-hmm.
time you click something, you have the potential to get more distracted somewhere else. um,
Mm-hmm.
and with ClickUp, and I would assume same with Monday, like all of our docs are just like right there and we can just click it. We can hyperlink them into the task. So like every single task has an SOP that is directly inside the task. We can also edit them right from there. The other thing that I love about ClickUp is you can embed things and you can work directly from there. So we have a table view and formulas in ClickUp, but it's not as robust as like Excel or Google Sheets. But you can embed those things and then work directly from ClickUp. So you can actually edit everything inside there. And I really like that
Mhm.
because then you don't have to go to another place. Um,
Mhm.
and like you said, like piecemealing that kind of stuff together, I always talk about too when you're looking at tools like less is more. So if you're able to work consistently and productively from one place, that's far better and going to save you even more time in the long run than if you have a task where you have to open up 3 different windows to complete that task.
Mhm. Yeah, and then, assuming you even find the thing that you needed or
Yeah.
like, if you're like me and you have like 15 different windows open and each window has 3 tabs, like my husband always makes fun of me and I'm like, yeah, I need to stop doing that because that's really obnoxious. But even, I mean, even that sometimes I'll have windows open because I'm like, oh, I want to remind myself to look at that. And basically what I can do is I can have even just like a little to-do list inside of Monday. And I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to check out that link about like, client financing, but I don't want to just leave it open on my desktop for eternity. I can put it into that board and then come back later and be like, oh yeah, I remember I was going to look at that, or maybe like set a reminder for myself or something.
Yep.
Um, so it's like, if you're the kind of person that has 8,000 tabs open at any given time, then probably a project management tool would be a good next step for
Here's
you.
your
So
sign.
yeah. Well, apparently we can talk about systems and software and all of that for a long time because I feel like we might have to do a part 2 down the road. But just for those people who are like, okay, you've convinced me, I obviously need some help here, or I need to understand this better. What type of tools and resources do you have for people that are interested in learning more? And I think you're specifically helping people with ClickUp, right? So
Yeah. Yes.
that's your,
So
and which is, I was saying to Kaci before we jumped on, like, I have nothing against ClickUp. We just happened to go with Monday because my coach, James Wedmore, his team is training my integrator and they use Monday. So it's like, that's just how we went. But I've heard really good things about ClickUp. So that's another tool that people should definitely check out as an option.
yeah.
But I know you have some resources that people can use to make things easier.
Yes. So I do have a ClickUp roadmap, and basically it's a 10-step process to just gain time and freedom back in your business by using ClickUp. So it will walk you through how to get set up and kind of the navigation of ClickUp and all of that stuff. So you can find that. I believe you're going to put that in the show notes, but you can find it on my website. And then also I'm very active on Instagram. So I'd love for you guys to come and follow me on Instagram and say hello. And I would love to get to know all of you.
And you were telling me before we hit record that you sell templates, or is that,
Yeah.
how does that work
Yeah.
for ClickUp?
So I have a ClickUp shop that has templates in a course. And so templates for like your industry to kind of get you started, rather than like opening that blank slate and building everything for yourself. I do have templates to get you started. I also have a course if you want to like go super dive into learning every feature about ClickUp. That's in there too. But yeah, it's fun. It's been fun having the template shop. I get a lot of requests and I've been updating them and building new ones. And yeah, so it's ever growing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like being able to just plug and play into a system can be really nice because even with the Monday system, one benefit we have with the coaching that we have from my mastermind is my integrator can speak with other people's integrators and be like, how do you do this for your business? And they're so generous with each other that people just be like, here's my Monday board. And I think you can literally import it if you want. Now, we don't usually import stuff because I feel like we like to create it and make sure it's set up for our business. But being able to just look at what they've created and get inspired by what
Yeah.
they've set up and how they set it up and then be able to create it in our own board has been so helpful. So I feel like even just seeing how other people do stuff, and I don't know if that's what you do in your course, but I feel like just seeing what's possible
Mhm.
makes it way easier to set it up for yourself because sometimes going into these systems and not having any clue like what's available or what's possible, that can be really overwhelming. And that's actually why with one of our standalone courses, Practice Better Made Simple, we teach people how to set that system up because a lot of times people don't even know what's possible inside of Practice Better to run their business. So I feel like you don't know what you don't know. And working with someone like Kaci is going to help you like actually know how to use these tools as opposed to having that like blank page freak out that you're like, I don't even know where to start because this is overwhelming kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. I know. It is interesting. I'm actually moving my entire business over to Entreport, which is a customer relation management, but it also does like emails and it's like a fully loaded thing. But anyway, I was on our strategy call today with her and she's telling me about all these features. And I'm like, wait, you can do all those things? And like, that's the importance of like, working with other people and figuring things out and trying to like you said, just collaborating. And it makes it more fun too. It makes you actually want to go do the thing rather than just like, oh, I'll get to it later.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it saves a ton of time too, because I feel like trying to invent it for yourself versus just seeing what somebody else recommends and being like, oh, I can do that. Like the amount of brain power you save is kind of crazy. So like one of my mastermind colleagues walked us through her whole system for organizing her team members on Monday with like hiring and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're a genius. And this is crazy. Like I'm going to show this to my integrator. And so it's stuff that, just would take so much longer to try to invent it on your own.
Yeah.
Well, Kaci, it's been so fun chatting with you about systems and software and all this stuff that maybe people don't think is the sexy part of running a business, but it certainly makes it a lot easier and you get to spend your time on the things that you're good at and not necessarily all of the organization. So I'm really glad that we could have this conversation today. And I hope that the listeners will find a tool that they can use and start using it so that their business is not a crazy hot mess anymore.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And I actually really enjoyed that you used Monday because it kind of helped give listeners like ideas on, more than just one thing, more than just me shoving ClickUp down their throat.
Well, at the end of the day, I feel like, a lot of them are so similar. I don't think ClickUp and Monday are that different that it's going to be like a disaster if you pick one or the other. My feeling is it's whichever one, like you said, that you feel comfortable using. And also, I think a lot of times it's whichever one you feel like you can get some support around because I don't know how we would be doing Monday if we didn't have the support to do it. That's honestly a big reason that I didn't start with Monday is I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. So if you can hire somebody to help with that kind of stuff, then, if you find the right person to work with, I almost feel like that's almost more important than the exact tool you use because a lot of them do very similar things.
Yep. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. And we totally need to do a part 2.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you, Kaci, and thanks for all of you hanging out with us on the Fed and Fearless podcast. We'll see you here next week, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care, everybody. Hey there, Laura here again. If you're anything like the hundreds of health and nutrition entrepreneurs that I've worked with over the past few years, you want to create an efficient, structured, and organized online health office that saves you time, maximizes your impact and your income, and provides a great experience for your clients. But maybe you've been told falsely that all you need is free tools like Google Calendar and Google Drive to make that happen. Or maybe you know that you need to use a client management software like Practice Better, but you feel overwhelmed trying to figure out how to set it up in a way that actually saves you time rather than wasting it. Either way, the fact is you need a well-oiled client management system, one that works for you like a team member if you want to have a successful online health and nutrition business. And in my brand new free training, I'm going to teach you the 6 essential steps to set up Practice Better for a more profitable and efficient virtual health and wellness business. I'll give you the step-by-step system for setting up your client management software that will get you out of the day-to-day admin work and back into the role of the high-level health and nutrition professional where you belong. I'll also show you how my client Jackie used these exact principles to help her make over $200,000 in revenue in her first full year of business, while also preparing to become a first-time mom. And by the end of this 60-minute training, you'll finally know the best way to create an efficient, structured, and organized online health office that saves you time, maximizes your impact and income, and provides an amazing front-end experience for your clients and customers. To get access to this exclusive brand new training, go to practicebettertraining.com and select the training day and time you'd like to attend. And don't worry if you can't make any of the times listed. We'll be sending the replay to all registrants, so just be sure to look for an email from hello@lauraschoenfeldrd.com to get your personal link to join the training. Having a well-organized client management system is a non-negotiable when it comes to building a financially successful online health business that doesn't burn you out. And I can't wait to show you the exact steps to doing so in the fastest and most efficient way possible. Go to practicebettertraining.com to sign up now, and I look forward to seeing you on the training.